Thank you. Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett, and today we're doing the 17th tutorial for Android coding. And as far as this one goes, we're going to get into editing text as far as how do you add the editing text ability into your app, and then we're going to get into in a later video how to save that. Now, as far as this goes, the last video we got into how to make a splash screen. You can keep that into your application if you want, but like I mentioned in the last video, I'm just going to get rid of it because the fact of the matter is, in this particular stuff, you wouldn't have it because it's a quick call type of thing. But with that in mind, it's very important to know how a splash screen works. So with this, if you hadn't seen my previous videos, please check the card towards the top somewhere, and that will link you to that. And if you are curious about the next video, and if you just want to skip ahead, then a card should be shown somewhere up there. And if it doesn't show, then that means that that video probably is not out by now. And keep in mind, these videos come out once or twice a week. So as far as that goes, let's jump on in. First things first is, again, I finished up the entire application so that way I can just run down the code and show you it. But basically, for this instance, we're just going to make a brand new layout. To do that, go to Layout, New, Layout Resource File, and name it whatever you want. You do need to keep in mind the name, and it needs to start with a lowercase letter. So from here, we have a brand new layout. So we're going to add the editing text fields, and there's two types of text fields. One is a normal text field. These are things you can't allow the user to change. So for example, if the user needs to log in and they need the username and password, you might have on the username and password either above it or near it somewhere something that says username and then password. For that, you won't want the user to be actually changing that. But for the edit text field, they obviously need to input their username and password. So therefore, you need them to add stuff. So from here, what we have under the widgets area is the different text types. So what we can do is simply drag and drop, and depending on your layout, as if it's a linear or relative layout, it's dependent on if you can have this all over the place and if you have to do extra work in order to have something like this. Now, and we'll get into this in a later video. Now, as far as that goes, we're going to also add in a editing text field. So we're just going to add it right below, and keep in mind the different editing text field types. So this is very important when it comes into if the person only needs to enter in certain things, or if some of the keyboards that a user may be using may be smart enough to figure out what type of text field they are entering. So say for example, if it's a email text field, some keyboards will actually even autocomplete or try to allow the person to autocomplete, and that way the keyboard itself can do its job. There's multiple reasons why you want to use these instead of just simple plain text. It's up to you either way you want to go, but for the most part, what we need to do is simply just add that. Now let's go back to here. As you can see here, we have the plain text, and then we have the editing text. You will always see the underscore when you first put it on there on the editing text field. This is a great indication to you and the user that this is a text field just from looks. Now you may be seeing that the color is off, and there's ways to fix that. What we can do is we can add the color darker like this, and this requires a hex number for the hex code for the color. You can go on Google and look up the hex code, but if you just want a simple black, here's the hex code. And what we can do with here is click the text field. Let's get rid of the second one. Click this text field and go down to text color and paste in the hex number, and you'll see it automatically change. Same thing if we apply it to the input, the actual application itself, we will see the same thing. And then we have the color of the hint, which is what we'll get into in a second. So with this, what you have now is a let's just go back to this, since we already got the how to load the actual widgets in the things. If we go to the text side and scroll down, you should see text view for your plain text, and then edit text. Yours will most likely look a bit different, but what you need to add for that hint, and what is a hint? It's basically saying what you should add as a user. So for example here, I want the user to put in your name here, and that way they can type it out instead of having to erase everything, erase the text that's already there or whatever. So what this does is it basically makes it where the user knows what to add as, for example, that. Now, as far as the text itself, we may have a ID. This is useful if you're going to change the text field. So for example, here I don't have IDs on this particular one on the actual text view. The reason is because I don't plan to change that at all. It is static. So if we go to the advanced layout, I plan to change these so they will have an actual ID, and that way the Java side of things can change it as needed. So with that, and by the way, to delete a layout, so you just right click it and go down to delete, or you just press the delete button on your keyboard. And you can save delete or not. I'm just going to do not, since I don't want to keep it at all. But with that, the editing field, the things to keep in mind is you can actually add in the text itself. So let's change this to text. And then you can see here it changed it to text. Whereas if we change it back to hint, it'll change it right back to hint. Let's actually see this in practice, since we got multiple things and I've already got the application made to the point where we're good for a little while. Let's go ahead, and this is another application I'm working on. It's going to be out in a couple days. But with this, let's let this thing load, and I'll be right back. Now that we're actually at this particular layout, we can see right here that your name, I'm not able to select it at all. And here we actually can see the actual text itself, the stuff that's added. And let's go even further. Let's go further with this. Delete that, and you can see there's no hint. So if someone clicks away, there's no hint for them to say what's supposed to be in here. That's why these hints are very important. So for example, here I could put ABC, go to the next one. Oh, I didn't want that, and boom, I can see what's supposed to be in that space. It's very important. Now, one thing that you should do if you are following along and you're trying to do this for a professional outlook is, one thing I didn't do that you should is make the width to match parent, and that way it gives the person maximum view. And you can do it for each 1. And that way, again, you can have it where the thing goes straight across. Now, before we go back into it and reload this, one thing I want to note is you can see that the text is darkened right here and here because we darkened it up with that hex code. It's easier to see. So this may be a worthwhile trick to do. So again, in order to do this, you simply need to go into each one of these. In 40 hint, I'll advise leaving that gray because based on history, people are going to naturally assume that's a hint and not the actual text. So what I'll do is simply copy that code, write it once, copy it, and then just paste it in each and every time for these text views and edit text. Simple as that. And I'll do that in a second, and I'll be right back with the thing reloaded. So as far as this goes, you can see that we can clearly see the what was supposed to be there, the hints in the actual text, so we can tell them apart. We can write ABC, ABC, and so on, and you can see the hints come back. It's very important to realize this. Now, I'll get into saving it in a later video, but let's get into some other important things. Let's go back to the design tab, and as seen here, we can do several things. We can, if you choose to, you can change the actual style, the text style. You can change quite a few things, the visibility. We can change out where the actual hint is. So by going to gravity and going down to center, we can see it changes that, so it makes it a lot easier for the user to actually see the difference and to be able to notice. We can set the color, and in case you can't find a hex, you can actually go here and set the color, and we'll be going back to that a few times. We can even set the max length. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Max length, and that way we don't have some person putting out 1,000 characters or something like that. For this type of application, it would be useful, but if you have very particular targeted devices, then like say for example, if you work at a company like Boeing or one of the other major companies, they may have you write an application for their manufacturing line. That way the manufacturing workers can use it to do their job, and you can set a character limit based on the actual application. That way it doesn't overload a computer with nonsense in case the person just messes up and has a whole bunch of A's or something. Now with this, there's quite a few things you can do here, even changing the font and all that. And the best place to look at this stuff is on the design tab and under properties. Make sure you select the proper one that you want to change and go from there. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to make a separator bar and also scroll layouts like I have here. And basically what that means is you can actually have it where a static area towards the top or bottom or wherever, and then a scroll layout in between, and even know how to make a separator bar. It's just something I just do on the side. But anyways, it's been Craig Bennett, and if you have any questions or anything that you want to add, please feel free to leave that in the comment section. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share, check out our Patreon to help these educational videos come out, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.